Welcome to Engerati studio. Today we are in the Energy Talk in the studio to have a discussion with our panelists about winning in competitive energy retail markets. So I have Lorena and Rick and Philippe, and we're just going to quickly go around and please just introduce yourself and give us a little bit of perspective about how you're going to help us understand this problem.
Hi, thank you. My name is Lorena Skiljan and I'm working for Wien Energie. It's Austrian biggest utility. We are a retailer and we are a former monopolist, so we are now really living in this disrupted market and try to come up with it and try to innovate some new business models and new products and engage customers in a different way and try to survive in this new world.
Okay, so you're going to be grappling a little bit, helping us walk through the business model question.
Exactly.
Okay, Rick, I know you have a different angle.
Yes. I'm Rick Mongeau. I'm the VP of Sales for FirstFuel, and we provide a customer engagement solution to utilities for their business customers. We have over 30 customers worldwide today, so I'll be talking from that angle.
Okay, great, thank you. And Philippe?
I'm leading the digital utilities transformation, in which you have a part on customer experience, and we are engaged by utilities to try to be the winner of the competition. I will probably tell you what are the key issues, the key stakes, and the key success factors to win the competition.
Okay. So we've been talking about disrupting, how to cope with this disruption for a long time, and during this European Utility Week, I've noticed that we're in it now. So people are coming up with very creative ways to deal with this. One thing, my friend Ade we ran a live poll, I think, right before now, and the question was, are value-added services the future of energy retail? And it doesn't seem like there was a lot of doubt. First of all, I'm American, I don't like polls anymore, but I'm going to tell you the results anyway. So it was 96% yes, and 4% no. So those no's could overtake the yeses at any time, so be careful with that. What do you think about that poll? Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree to a certain extent. Okay. I think value-added services are really very important to start engaging with the customer. But I think on the other way, we also have to reinvent somehow our utility businesses. So I think just the value-added services will not be enough on the long term.
Okay.
On a short and mid-term, it's a good strategy, but we have to reinvent our businesses and strategies somehow. That's
a really contrary answer, actually. We tend to hear, oh no, we're going from products to services, and I'm hearing you say that's not a permanent solution. So, yeah. Is that correct?
It's not enough. It's just a part of a solution.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we're going to get to that then. I'm gonna put, instead of asking everybody about the poll, I want to stretch it a little. You have something you want to say on that?
Yeah, because it's interesting, because we have actually had multiple conversations at this event that are very much in line with that poll. We've had two conversations in particular from two different utilities providers from two different countries. One really caught my attention because they said that the one that really caught our attention was they expected the margins on commodity sales to go to zero within the next few years. I had not actually heard that before.
Yes.
And another one said that they actually expect to transition their entire compensation plan for their sales organization for the same reason, that they would compensate their salespeople only for non-commodity sales. I'd never heard that before.
Neither have I, actually. It was on my panel in the opening plenary that I heard that. So I want you to restate that, because this is a really important point, and it's changing the conversation. Restate the part about commodity sales.
For two different energy providers from two different countries stated that there would be zero margins on commodity sales.
Zero margins on commodity sales.
Right.
And we have a benchmark on the performance of the retailers in Europe and in the world, and we have seen the margin decreasing year on year, and some players which has lost their market shares are in a negative result perspective just now. And the question in the market, which are very competitive in Europe, which is not the case in the US or in other geographies, which will become competitive in Asia also because of the deregulation move. The players have to differentiate themselves, and they have to build new revenue streams because of the fact that the commodity prices are varying, the margins are very low, and with the energy efficiency perspective, the consumption should decrease in the future. So you have to invent new revenue streams and profitable new revenue streams, and this is the question, and where innovation is clearly a solution.
But you're validating this. I mean, this is a pretty startling thing.
You can even be more radical. I think commodity will be a giveaway.
That's what I think too.
Just a giveaway, and if you adopt our services and our other range of products, which will give from hardware to really just servicing.
Right. So last year and for the past several years, we've been saying, we have to adopt the utility business model. We have to do this. We have the risk of disintermediation and hollowing out. And so maybe we missed that conversation and we've just had to cope with it. I mean, a gentleman said to me yesterday, he said, we're in a world now where our consumer is also our competitor as well. So what does that say about customer centricity when we're thinking about our strategy? And since you opened up with the lob that it's not, services is not enough, I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah. I would go for what you say the customer is our competitor. If you take a customer into the partnership with you, then it's not a competitor, it's just a two-way relationship.
Do you see it as a business partnership?
Exactly.
All right.
So I see it as a two-way relationship instead of a one-way relationship that it was in the past, or if I see my customer as a competitor, then it's still one way. So we are trying to define this differently. Just the customer should take profit from this relationship, for example, by participating on the energy markets through the utility, and we will participate on the customer by providing him with hardware or with any services or products he needs. So it's not going to be sector-only products, it's just going to be just much more of that. So we will not be an energy utility anymore, we will just be utility.
So I think Rick, because of the work he does, probably has a perspective, but I want to ask you this way. So we talk a lot about B2C, we need to address the customers in this market in a different way, give them the Amazon-like experience, they're expecting certain things. I'm hearing from my friend here that perhaps a more B2B model is actually appropriate, but providing customer kind of like a different kind of B customer, maybe a more sensitive one, I don't know. What do you think? You're having these conversations every day.
All the time, and it's funny, Carol, when you said the customer is the competitor. Having been a salesperson my whole life, I think I jolted a little bit. Just can't see it that way at all. I think if the more utilities look at the customer as someone they really want to tightly engage with and get to know much better, the utilities will be far better off. A really strong analogy that many people can relate to. We all have mobile phones today, and everybody has a provider of some sort. And if you go back X number of years, this industry became very competitive. And a lot of those companies have done a very good job of connecting with their customers. And I use an example once. If I was on a business trip and I got a notification that we were my family plan was about to exceed the usage, okay? And so I texted my family and said, stop the pictures, okay? And whoever goes over, I'm going to charge your account.
Oh, you're a rough parent.
And, yes, I am a rough parent. And they all stopped, okay? And they held tight for 3 days. And that and other things that this particular phone company has done has made me quite loyal to them. So when I get attacked by other phone companies to save a few dollars, I don't go anywhere. Well, if electric companies would do the same thing, if utilities would do the same thing with the B2B customers. So if you can imagine I'm the facility manager of a campus of a university, and I'm told midway through the month that, hey, you're running a much higher bill than normal. And you could go online and you could look and say, why is that? Okay, well, the first reason is the weather's a little unusual. Well, what could I actually do about that? Okay, and you could take some certain action, maybe some operational changes, but maybe actually purchase a piece of equipment that improve the efficiency of the air conditioning system, the cooling system.
Well,
your relationship now is totally different. And as you're then approached by other competitors, you might say, as the facility manager, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm being taken care of by this utility.
You're arguing something I want to talk to Philippe about. So you're actually arguing with your examples that because you have established trust with this particular provider, that is the key to winning in the competitive energy retail market. And we were, just before we went on camera, we were talking about the number of languages spoken in one of your buildings. And
83 languages to serve customers from our customers.
Right. So now I want to ask, the question I want to ask, is there really, sometimes we miss on the global stage that there's some sort of, kind of cookie cutter way of winning trust, getting to the markets. Do you agree that trust is really the key?
Yes, the trust is really the key, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You have to propose value to your customers, meaning not only commodity, but also valuable services. The customer could find with your offer, but also with the offer of other players invading the playground and coming from outside the sector, and trying to disintermediate your business when you are a utility retailer or utility service provider. The customer has totally changed over the years. We came from a customer which was totally unaware of the energy questions and is totally aware now. We come from a commodity buyer to someone who pulls services from your company. We came from an individual customer, B2B or B2C, to a community of interest or community, the community fact. The producers talking directly through a blockchain to their customers. The world has changed. So.
Right, when you say talk to your customers through a blockchain followed by, and the world has changed, there's your example right there. I mean, that's true, right? Where would you ever be thinking about that was the way that you were going to relate at a technology level, at that level? But I don't know if we can lose what Rick has been talking about, which is that kind of, that customer centricity that was typical of the B2C markets and what we thought were going to win, right? Is that what you're saying?
The customer has taken the driving seat now. This is no more the utilities which are pushing their offers mainly based on commodity. This is the need of the customer and the trust of the customer in your company, which is very important nowadays. So you, as a utility or as a commodity and services for energy providing, you have to find a way to satisfy the customer in terms of customer relationship. You have to be best in class not compared to your peers, but best in class compared to the industries.
But have we done that? So we've been talking about customers was where we first started having conversations about the changing business of the utility, and then we've had buzzwords come along. We've had big data, we've had analytics, and et cetera. All that's really important. I really want to ask a loaded question, and you don't have to answer it. Have we done a good job so far in starting to move towards the services? And if we have, what's working? And if we haven't, what actually has to be changing? And I'm gonna push this to you first.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think we started well, so we have to push this forward. As always, the first that has to be done is to recognize what's happening.
Right.
So that's what we did. We recognized it, and now we have to start moving forward. I think it's you cannot expect from a big utility like ours is, for example, to move with a same dynamics like IT companies, but it's also just not our role. Also not towards
it was not
customer.
Keeping the lights on was keeping economies going was really the role, right?
Exactly.
Is it fair to say to utilities, you now you're not just a project management company in charge of keeping our world moving satisfactorily and keeping markets from crashing and keeping trains moving and the lights on, but we're saying now we want you to be an IT company and we want you to be a customer. We want you to be an Amazon too.
Yeah, so why not?
Well, I don't know.
Actually, why not? Why?
But how do we do that? So you were talking about this. We're not necessarily. Yes, we have to wake up from this sleeping giant denial.
We already did.
Okay, but did you do that because you were willing to do new partnerships, or do you want to build that all inside?
No, we want to build a new customer relationship because the customer is not accepting anymore the kind of relationship where you are providing something to him that he just did not choose on his own and didn't have a possibility to make a decision
right.
for a system or for a service for something. So that's just to go other way around. And since the market, the electricity market, the energy market actually is very disrupted, pricing is completely disrupted, it's the only way for us to go. So actually we are squeezed from the both sides. One side is the energy market and the pricing, and the other side is that the customer
that's really,
change.
I mean, you're in a participatory market now, which is different, right? You're not just pushing electrons down the wire.
Exactly. So that's why you have to change the organization, you have to change the management strategy, and you just have to be, I would say, visionary. Why not?
I think you're right. And at first I want to ask you, Philippe, if you think that's happening. I mean, you're talking about what it's like to wake up. I really appreciate your candor around that. Are you finding that's happened en masse? We've woken up now, or are we still maybe not so woke?
Yes. Utilities have made a big progress in terms of customer relationship, customization, customer knowledge, usage of all the channels for interactions. This is a basic now, and it has not been done fast enough first, and you have to propose something else to better understand the customer needs, to propose a new value prop meaning new business models. And the question is that, will you as an established utility invent this new business model alone? My answer is no, but perhaps we should come on this later.
I think it's important, and that's really Rick's problem. Actually, I mean, I would like to hear as much as you can share, right? Like, what is the hang up in terms of you are a product provider that is helping utilities bridge, right, get to this new mentality. But obviously, you're not going to sell 100% of the deals you pitch unless you're that good. But I'd like to know what the hang-ups are. What are the challenges? What are the points of resistance that you have to work with?
The other people on the panel have been discussing some of this, and I've discussed this with some of the partners that we have in the space, and asking them, are they seeing what we're seeing? I would say up until a few months ago, there was a tremendous amount of recognition of the issues, and you were talking about organizational change, and that's what we've seen, is that there's tremendous respect for the change that's taking place, tremendous need to solve the problem, and tremendous need to do something about it. But it has required organizational change and people change, and in some cases different types of people, because you're talking about from non-competitive to competitive, marketing and sales becoming much more important. So that does require some people change, and that change is occurring. So the actual doing it doesn't happen when the change is occurring and putting the people in place. So the question I was asking as a salesperson who needs people to be in place to sell to. So that's the vantage point of the question. Has that occurred? Has that settled down? Are those people in place? To my peers, the answer was not really. It hasn't really settled down yet. Okay?
So is it fair to draw a line? Like, we could sit down and say, the topic is how do we win in energy retail markets? And you would think that we would be discussing what are the best services, what are the best solutions. And actually what I'm hearing is the first step in doing that is changing your company, changing your organizational mindset, moving a little faster. There's still a lot of difficulty maybe in seeing how to do that, or denial maybe, or just like not sure what the strategy is to go forward. And you're saying just organizational change. Would everybody agree that that's the first step then?
I see two levels of disruption or changes. One level is the operational model, and this is about organization, mainly to be more efficient because the margins are very low. And the second one is about business models. Business models. You have to propose new value prop, as I already mentioned. But this value prop is not only the value prop the customer needs. This is the value prop the customer wants to buy to you, wants to pay for, to make additional, to build additional, to grow revenue streams, to grow margin, and to grow the stickiness of your customer to your company. And this is not so simple, because on any market, even in Europe, there is no single answer to this question. What is the business model, the value prop, the service, in fact, my customer wants to buy to me as a single provider, differentiating from the competition. And this is not so simple. And to try to give an answer when you are a service provider or retailer, you have to define a framework on which topic will I make breakthrough on the market, and what are the partners with which I will invent this future for my customers.
Okay.
This is the question I have.
It's complicated. It's not just about thinking up the next great thing that will make my customers happy. So you've actually done this. Like I can hear you expressing a journey, and I think it would be really helpful if you could talk about what you thought were the key shifts that you made to enable you to move forward in a way that maybe other utilities haven't been able to do so quickly.
Well, the first recognition was just the customer, and everything else comes with it. When you start thinking about the customer and how you should shift your businesses from an inside to the customer side, in a very short time it becomes very clear that just only thinking about the customer and doing some business models or products for the customer is just not enough.
Right.
Because you have to push the organization, and as you said, you need to work on the culture and also on the people. In a traditional utility, you have great experts, but we need IT experts, which we did not have until now. So, and this is the stuff you're just coming up by doing it, you know, and just then you have to make clear and quick decisions and just to go for it. Because if you think too long about that, the market will go and you're still thinking, you know. So
there was fundamental resistance to utilities looking at other industries for a long time, and I'm hearing you say that's not the case.
That's not the case, because if that would be the case, I don't think that we will survive that anymore, because the customer will not accept sector-only solutions.
I agree.
Yes, that's right. I need one partner, and the partner who provides me the best offerings from the one hand, it's my partner. So.
Okay, so you said the partner word. I like that. So what do you, before we move into your opening volley, which said services is not enough, I really want to get to that, but I want to know what were the services that you learned the most from, that were helping you develop that kind of relationship with your customers that you were organizationally trying to pivot and orient to.
Yeah, I could give you a small example, because our beginning, we began, of course, from the energy business. So we start to provide our customers with hardware like PV batteries, and just to make them autonomous. So it's just like, as you say, our competitors, becoming our competitors. And what we come up with is the customer could buy anywhere like a PV and a battery, but then he has like, I have to go over there and buy me a PV and there a battery, and then I have to search for some electrician just to put all that stuff together, and then maybe it doesn't work. So that's why we come up with actually this is the solution we are providing to our customer. We will give you the service.
So as a utility, you're actually helping your customer become more autonomous.
Exactly.
That's pretty radical.
We have to do that because that's what the customer wants, but we are getting involved and engaged with the customer, and we know what he wants the next. So it's on our next possibility, instead just to pushing him away from you. So that's not the answer.
And so it's just, I want you to keep talking, but I want to break in with this trust idea, because it's not about incremental trust then. You actually trusted your customer like in a big way.
Exactly.
Right.
To build up a trust relationship, because if the customer has the feeling that I'm trying to stop him in what he wants to, then he will throw me away. So, but if he sees, okay, maybe it's not the best for the utility, but they are still my enabler, then they will maybe take my telecommunication products and services, my healthcare entertainment services, which they at the first time wouldn't take from me, because we have a completely different relationship than just buying products and go home and install that products and take care of them, So that's our strategy.
That's very interesting. And Rick, is that something you can deliver to? I know you hear the vision here, which is really a radical shift. I mean, it's not. Sometimes we kill ourselves by 1,000 cuts, right? But this is pretty big. Like, do you hear this also?
Well, I would say we have a couple of clients today who would make the same claim that they're delivering that trust to their EDF. I won't go into too much about what they're doing, but EDF and E.ON are both delivering solutions to their customers. And I think if they were sitting here today, they're very confident that they're delivering that level of trust to their customers, and they happen to be using our solution to do that with. Okay.
So you are starting to hear it, but that's great. And do you also feel that there's an appetite for this kind of change?
Not enough. Yeah. But I'm sure that disruption will be the key word. Utilities, service provider in the energy sector should disrupt themselves by proposing something else to their customers. The customer service, the good customer service is not enough again. Some examples perhaps. In the countries where the smart home market has grown, UK, Netherlands, the provider of smart home systems, which are utilities also, British Gas, Eneco, they have seen two facts. The first fact is the churn rate has decreased terribly. This is a good news for them, by 60-70%. And the second good news is that they make money by selling and operating these smart home systems. And smart home, this is not only home energy management. This is a bunch of services, and you will have to find the services the customer wants and accepts to pay for, and not only all the services, all the connected devices in the home. So you have to choose your fights, and the answers are not the same in
right. As we were talking before, there has to be some level of I guess the word is cultural, so cultural sensitivity as well. About all of us have different.
Sure. Same for industrials. We talk about residential customers. For industrials, one of the questions is to simplify the life of industrial customers, and also to help them to decrease their energy bill. And to be more autonomous. If they want to generate, to use heat they produce, you should be their partner on that way.
Okay, good. That's great. So I actually got the signal that we're just about out of time. So I promised it would go fast, but that went a little fast for me actually, because I did promise that we would get to your services is not enough, but now we almost just have maybe 1 minute. So I'm going to let you have the last word so that we know what that is.
Thank you. So I'll just catch up with what you said, and I think when we look also at the future customer and at our society, how it's developing, I see really a lot of to go with this trust relationship, to go also with the services like assisted ambient living and security are, I think, as much as important as all this autonomous energy producing at customer side. And so I see a very, very big chance for traditional utilities, which trust relationship are already in place to go for that kind of offerings for the customer.
Excellent. So
if I may comment on that,
yeah, of course.
For security perspective, the customer accepts to pay 20 to 30 euro per month, which is more than the margin you make every year for a residential customer.
Yeah, so it's real. That's really it. So what I heard today is wake up and start really listening to your customers for real, not just from your own sort of filter, and then innovate, because the opportunities are actually bigger than where they sit right now. So it's a good reason to get moving. So thank you so much. What a great panel. I really appreciated you spending a half hour with us in the studio and joining our energy talks. Thanks to everybody who came today.